Hi everyone, Robin here. I wanted to share this special layout with you guys. It's my tribute to the little Princess Shirley Temple. As I'm sure most of you know, because she's such an American icon, she passed away this last week, but she's a very important person, well, actress like to our family, mainly because our 20-year-old Rachel became a dancer because of her love of Shirley Temple movies back when she was a young toddler. Here you just saw two pictures. Initially it started off going on a cream cardstock and then I ended up with Hollywood black. But this is Rachel dressed up in her little Shirley Temple dress. That's when we came back to the States. She had to get in dance right away, but she had to wait till she was 3. And so she even went into competition dance, and that's what some of that is. But yeah, Rachel has loved her since the moment she watched a first movie. We were overseas and there was only one TV station, and I was watching a Miss Doubtfire movie, and one of the previews was a Shirley Temple movie, and Rachel just stopped what she was doing and she just stared at the TV and she just wanted me to keep playing that part over and over. So when my mother-in-law called from the States, I asked her if she could find a Shirley Temple movie. Well, like a week and a half later, I get a box in the mail and there's like 12 of them. And since then, that was all she wrote. So we've been a fan ever since. A friend of mine that worked at the thrift shop there on the air base, we were stationed in the Azores, found that little, not prom dress, pageant dress. And Rachel would wear it every time she watched the movie, which was constantly. So we had to like wash it when she was sleeping. So anyway, I just really wanted to do a page, to remember Shirley Temple. So I'm just kind of going through. I was thinking I was going to use those crochet hearts from Stamping Up. And I had some buttons and some music note paper clips and doilies, of course, because you think of her in lace and frilly and pretty. And those little dewdrops I got from the Robin's Nest. I bought those at a crop, but I'm sure if you looked online under the Robin's Nest, you should be able to find some. And there's different bottles with different color combinations. And of course, I think pink when I think of Shirley Temple. And the line I knew as soon as I wanted to do this page was Sweet Girl by Lori Whitlock for Echo Park paper, because it has that old-fashioned feel, and Shirley's just such a sweet girl. So I'm not really sure. I have no direction yet. I have no idea how I'm going to do this layout. I just went right downstairs, printed out some pictures on my Canon selfie, and just started digging things out. So here I'm just kind of going through and reading things I could possibly use. I love the little dresses in this line, but they weren't quite the type that Shirley wore. So this is a grid paper that I do start using in the beginning, but now I'm just laying these pictures on top, and the ones I'm going to use I put to the far, far left. The ones I decide not to use I put to my immediate left. These are like little tiles, and I find Little Princess. And I was so excited, and I'm like, because I knew that that's what I wanted my title to be, but to find it like that, I'm like, perfect, that's what I'm doing. But you'll see with the first layout, the feel just wasn't what I wanted. And so after an hour and a half of fiddling with the initial layout, I just changed directions, put everything on black. Things were just starting to come to me, and it was late that night, but I couldn't quit working because, the ideas were just coming to me. So I'm liking a lot of these papers right now, and I'm not sure. I'm like, okay, I'm liking all these papers. What am I going to do? And then the idea of using them in strips comes into my mind. What I'm going to do with those strips, I'm unsure. Now I'm just laying them down to make sure that all of these, I printed out 6 pictures, and as you can see, this one on the left is slightly colored. Someone had done it, but I love the picture. I couldn't find a black and white one of it, so I kept it. And I only end up using 5 of these pictures. You'll see me fiddle around with them soon on the page just to see how I wanted to make them fit. Just in case you don't have this collection, I am going to go through each of these papers separately really quick. So if you wanted to buy just a certain sheet. So this one is Blossom. I've found that I used all the B-sides to these papers. This one is Sweet Clover because of the other side. You'll see. This one is Rainbows. That one doesn't have it. I'm sorry, I must have cut off the tag on that one, the branding strip. This one is Border Strips. This one is Quilt Blocks. And the last one is Lace Damask because of the opposite side. So I end up using B-sides on all of these papers. This is Bundle of Joy. The pinks match beautifully, and I'm thinking I might use that small font. I had to have music paper on this layout somewhere, but that music paper just wasn't doing anything for me. That's all I had, so I thought I would use that with a viewfinder wheel. I'm not sure what you call that exactly. I didn't really have like an old film wheel because I think of film strips like that when I think of old movies, but that's the next closest thing. I know they had them back then because my dad said he had one. He's just a few years younger than she was, but I decided to use that Love Music with that Tim Holtz die cut, and I absolutely love it, and I'm so glad I have that. It's just enough, you know, she was a singer and a dancer, so it's just enough music hints on the page. Look at that, my nails match my Sizzix. My Big Shot, that's funny, I didn't realize that. I just got this summer. My mother-in-law bought it for me, and it was a little intimidating with all these plastic sheet things. I didn't know what to do, so I've hardly used it, but I just jumped in because I really wanted to use this die cut, and I think I only had to go through once, but just in case I brought it backwards. So y'all tell me if I just need to go through one time, but it worked out great. So I was a little scared because it marked up my top piece of glass, but I think that that's normal. Didn't that turn out nice? And then I just mounted it on black. I saved you guys the process of me drawing it out and trimming it out, but I've glued it down, and now I'm going to edge the inks with my London Fog. Edge my inks. Ink my edges. I'm sorry, I just woke up. But my husband's looking at me. Oh, I'm keeping it real. Now I just start fiddling with picture placement. I start with the initial 6. The one I pull out is the one where she's dressed like Heidi, which is in the bottom right. And I love the movie Heidi, but the reason I took that one out is she's roughly the same age in all of the other pictures, and Heidi, she's a few years older. So I knew I was just going to be able to use 5 by the time I figured out I was just going to go horizontally across the page, and I needed to get rid of one picture. So I'm saving that to do another picture of her and Rachel together, maybe on a page. I'm just putting, I'm not using this blue, I'm just laying them on the blue for you guys because my mat is black and I didn't want them to get lost. So I know I'm going to have that slightly colored one in the center, and then I have 2 that are brighter and 2 that have a darker background. So now I'm just deciding how to place all those pictures. Do I want the darker ones to the outside, the lighter ones to the inside? Do I want to alternate them? Eventually they find their forever home, and I number the backs of them so that I don't forget what order I wanted them in. You see me fiddling and fiddling. I cut a ton of film off this project because, like I said, it was like 2 different layouts I did. So I wanted you guys to see certain things I was going through, the processes, so you can maybe pick something up, or just, you know, if you like to watch, but I didn't want to have it an overwhelming video. And it ended up being shorter than my very first one, so that's good. Here I'm just measuring to see how wide I want my strips. I want them taking up most of the page, but I don't want my strips right up next to each other. I want them to have a little bit of the background paper peeking through. And I'm not sure at this point if I want to keep the strips all the way down the page or if I'm going to cut them lengthwise a little bit, but I figure all that out. These papers are so pretty, and I'm so glad I'm using them. Like I said, I got them this summer when I first started getting back into scrapbooking. I was looking to see some collections I wanted, and because I have girls, I chose this one, but I've yet to use my girls on one of these pages. I used this paper for a project I did with my aunt when she was little in the 50s, and she loved to sit in big cardboard boxes. I'm pretty sure I shared that in a layout share. If not, I will. But she was so cute. She would just sit there and watch TV in this big cardboard box, and we used to do the same thing. But I used this line of papers for her page, and it turned out so adorable. I'm just fiddling to see if I wanted every other one down, and because of the odd number, I didn't like how that looked. Then I decided to try and bring them all down. Thank you, saw my glass of wine right there. Okay, now I'm thinking, do I want some strips up there? And I end up pulling this pink out. It's kind of a hollyhock color. It's really, really pretty. And later on, you won't see the process, but I used one of my Fisker's punches on it. And I made it thinner. It still went across the width of the page, but I made it thinner, and then I used the punch. Then I ended up not using it when I changed to the black background. Like I said, I knew I wanted my title to be Forever Our Little Princess. I knew I wanted her name on there, and that's a lot, so I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do all this. So I really wanted Little Princess to stand out. Oh, here we jump ahead quite a bit. You see that top border strip I was talking about, which was adorable. I just couldn't get it to, nothing was working for me right here, but I knew I wanted Little Princess being bigger. I knew I wanted the focus, of course, to be her pictures, but I really loved, and because of the music note paper, I really wanted to concentrate on that viewfinder wheel too. I cut in half and used instead of doilies because it just reminded me of, you know, older, her time era. That center picture also, to make it stand out, I double matted it and I popped it up. Instead of with pop dots, I use the negative space from the pop dot sheet. So, you know, all that foam that's left over after you take your pop dots out, I cut some of that. I use it all as to not to waste it. I'm waiting on my Scotch roll tape to come. But here I decided to go to the black, something just like do Hollywood black. And so I'm giving it a whirl. And I had decided to cut those strips at the bottom like banners, and I inked all the edges with London Fog and I outlined them. I outlined the viewfinder. I like that. And I even did outline that pink strip up there, but I'm still trying to incorporate this cream ledger paper for a while, and I'm not sure why. I think I was maybe thinking of putting my title there somewhere to make it pop, but I'm just taking up too much space here. But I debated cutting this whole thing out, but I wanted you guys to see for a little while what I was trying to do, or what my thought process was. Okay, so change of plans on the title. I have these thickers that are foam, but the top sheet is a sticker, or you know, you peel the topping off and then the letter is sticky underneath. You've seen them at Michael's and, you know, craft stores and such. And I have this glitter. I've had it forever from American Crafts, the Wow glitter. And I found a deeper teal, but it goes with the papers. And here I'm just sprinkling it over. I have my stickers, my thickers on wax paper so I can peel them off. And here I'm just pressing the glitter in. This was, I'm not going to lie to you, I've never done this before using these stickers. I've had them for at least a year and never done anything with them. But they turned out beautifully. It was just the hint of sparkle for a little movie starlet, and I loved it, but it was a little messy. Normally what you can do from keeping glitter getting onto your page and everything as well is you can wipe whatever you want with a dryer sheet, a laundry dryer sheet. You know, it takes the static off your clothes. It'll take the static from the page and keep all that little excess glitter from, sticking to the page and stuff. But it came off really easy. But what I wanted to tell you guys was, yes, touching these letters, the glitter was getting all over. But by the next day, it must have cured because it stayed sparkly, it stayed glittery, but I would rub my finger on the letter and the glitter would not come off. And then I even took a small area and I used my nail on it and it would not come off. So it's awesome once it cures. So don't be afraid to use it, because I was like, man, as much as I love how this is looking, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this a lot, because it was a little messy, but it turns out fine in the end. And instead of those crocheted flowers I wanted to use in the beginning with brads in the center, I decided to go to butterflies. Just kind of, she was a free spirit. And also because in the bottom right corner, you'll see this wooden tag I got clearance at Michael's. And it's yellow and it has 2 butterflies on it and it says admit 1, just like a movie theater. And it ends up going to that top cluster on the left. But I also wanted to point out on my school page I used that branding strip that had the days of the week. Well, I cut some of that off that was going to go behind a picture because I thought I might want to use it on another layout. And the pieces that I cut off were Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I thought, how awesome to use on this page. Number one, it's the right colors. But my dad said back in his day, if you went to a movie, you went on a Friday night, Saturday matinee, Saturday evening, or the Sunday matinee. So I put the Friday in the top corner cluster, the Saturday in that center cluster there under that one picture you see, and the Sunday down at the bottom. So I thought that was kind of cool. I love these little buttons I have up top, but in the end, I thought, well, do I leave them like that? Do I, put some string through them, some twine through them? And I did that, and then it just ended up being too much for the page. I do love buttons. I think they're adorable. She's a little girl, but I just felt it was pulling my page in too many directions. I think I'm getting ready to start adhering these strips now. So I'm just getting them where I want them. I'm deciding no border up top. Here we go with the buttons again. I just can't let it go. Not sure what I'm doing here. I think I'm just still playing with placement. But Rachel has every single one of her movies on VHS. She's slowly getting them on DVD. But if you ask her, what made you go into dance? Was it your mom? She's like, nope, it was Shirley Temple. Oh, I'm adhering the pictures down now first. Okay. I'm deciding how I wanted them to be, and I decided to not keep them perfectly straight, but to alter them. And the picture on the left, there's that space underneath her. She's fanning her dress out. That's where I decided to put her name. I knew I wanted her name on there somewhere, and the year she was born and the year she passed, but I wasn't quite sure where I wanted to do that. So I got these tiny white glitter stickers from Michael's. I've had and I've used them a couple times. I do her name in all lowercase letters under there. And then the number stickers I was going to use for 1928 to 2014, they were bigger. So I put them down at the bottom by that bottom right cluster. That long teal strip up top says the sweetest and the cutest, and that's an Elle Studio snippet. And then the yellow sticker that I'm going to use in that center cluster came from the Sweet Girl collection sticker sheet, and it says, love this face. And I absolutely do love this face. So in each cluster, I do have a music note paper clip. And those are by Prima, the Lyric collection. There's that Admit One ticket. and I believe that was by Recollections at Michael's. The butterfly punches were my Martha Stewart punches, and I punched out a whole bunch from the leftovers. I didn't really know what color butterflies I wanted to use where, but it turned out well, and then the other extras I punched out will just be for another project. And I do end up, to the right of the layout, you see some cards from some Project Life cards with words on them that I've used before in other layouts. And there was a saying on the, word snippets, and one said, "Oh my goodness," or "Oh goodness," and she used to say that all the time in her films. So I used that. I cut one out that said "timeless." I used that one, and laugh more. And instead of this time, I did not use any sequins, I didn't use any enamel dots, and I didn't use any glitter sprays from from Heidi Swapp or Tattered Angels. But what I did was, because of her era, I have tiny, tiny pearls, and you'll see soon. I got them at Michael's. They're the Recollection brand. And on the larger butterflies, I put 2 in the center for the body, and the teeny, teeny ones, I just put 1. And then in each little section or cluster, I put some in a triangle, visual triangle. Just enough so you know pearls are there, but not enough to overwhelm. Like I said, I wanted my focus points to be Little Princess, her pictures, and those decorative viewfinder wheels. This part gets a little messy. For the next project, and just to let you guys know, if you wanted to do the process of the glitter on the letters and set them aside for most of the day, or come back to them the next day until they're cured, because every time I peeled it up, glitter was just popping everywhere. But it still wasn't that bad. But if you wanted to do this ahead of time, if you already had a plan and a title, you could do that part first and let it cure. But it all worked out just fine. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I don't know what I would do without these tweezers, seriously. I think I start tapping some of this glitter off. I end up putting this layout on a white piece of just some scratch paper that I use for stamping off or whatever. I got it through Close to My Heart. They're like little worksheets, and I decided to put it on that because this black paper, you just couldn't see it on my black mat. So I wanted you guys to see what I was doing. And I'm using these pink square tiles from the Sweet Girl collection. And as you can see up there on this wax paper, I also put down the teal ones, and I wrote forever with both of them because I wasn't sure if I wanted to use the teal or the pink in the beginning. And then once I decided to do the teal glitter, I knew I was going to use the pink. And the fact that they're squares just brought in, kind of mimics the pictures up above and just brings in another element. And I'm going to use those round circles for the word hour from the Lullaby or Bundle of Joy collection. I'm sorry. For that center music note paperclip, I really didn't have anything to paperclip it to, like I do in the other 2 clusters. So I tucked it up underneath that center picture so you just see the bottom parts of the notes and not the paperclip part. And it's really hard to see here in the video, but when you see the close-ups, it worked out really, really well. So here I decided to use these round circle ones from, like I said, Bundle of Joy to spell out the word hour. And it mimics the viewfinder wheels. brings out that circle element. And I like the scallop sticker that came with the Sweet Girl collection down below too, because I think it does the same. Now I'm cutting out those little words I was telling you about. I needed some pink in the bottom right cluster. Thankful, oh goodness, laugh more, timeless, and I couldn't read the last one, but I end up using just 3 of them. So down there is laugh more. In the middle is timeless. I put above, well, it ends up making it above that banner. And then up top I use oh goodness. This page, excuse me, this page is going to be a favorite for a long time. I sent a picture to Rachel when I was done, and she's like, I want it. So, usually when I make a page like Christmas or whatever, I'll make one for our book, mine and Eric's book, and then I'll make them each one. And so I'm going to have to do this again for my daughter, obviously, because, she is the dancer. But I love it as much too because, she means a lot to us. I would watch Shirley Temple movies with my dad on Sundays when I was younger, and I kind of thought it was odd that my dad would watch Shirley Temple movies. I don't anymore, but, when you're 7 or 8, you're kind of wondering why your dad wants to, he watches football and these Westerns, but boy, if a Shirley Temple movie was on, he'd watch it too. And he said, I grew up with her, and, he would explain that, she just makes you feel good after, life is hard and, sometimes, but for a couple hours you can get lost in a cute little movie and just feel better. Now I know that title is not a cluster, but I felt I wanted a butterfly there, and actually that's the only butterfly I doubled up. I used my small glue dots for these butterflies. And they held very well. And for the tiny ones, I just folded the glue dot in half, with my tweezers and adhered the butterfly to it and stuck right to the page exactly where I wanted it. And later on, I don't know if I show it, but you'll see I use my Scotch glue. Oh, I'm sorry, I used the Scotch glue for the very tiny ones. It must have been the regular butterflies. I folded the glue dot in half, but here I started cutting out some twine because I thought I would start putting them in these buttons and tying a bow on them. But it was just too much to my eye after a while. I just wanted you to see here what process I was going through, what I was thinking. And then I thought, well, maybe the buttons are too big. So I think I, at one point, took one off and put a smaller one on to see if maybe that was it. And I was like, ugh. I just couldn't make up my mind, so I decided not to do it, which is great. And I might actually go back and just sew through the top, just a little zigzag stitch. But right now it's left alone. Now I'm getting out these pearls I was talking about. They're all the same size in this package. They do have packages with alternating sizes, which I have some of those as well. And here are the little stickers I'm going to use for her name. And like I said, I decided to do them all lowercase because she's just a little tot in these pictures, and I just wanted her name to stand out, but not go across further than the width of that picture. I'm just putting the pearls on the black so you can see them. Her name is down, and then at the bottom by that lower viewfinder in that cluster, you'll see the dates. I'm just taking my clear Wink of Stella marker by Zig, and I'm going over some things just to give it a little bit of shimmer. It dries clearer than it looks now. It's still wet, but when it dries, it's just perfect enough of sparkle for Hollywood in A Little Princess. It pulls out those butterflies, and I even go over some of these tiny words that I cut out from the Project Life cards. There's the date, you can see it down there, 1928 to 2014. I love the color scheme. I mean, she was old black and white movies, but I love the colors, and I'm sure that these were the colors of her dresses that she wore. And I just thought the collection was perfect for this project. So I think soon I'm going to hold up, and so you can see each of these clusters up close. I love these little pictures. See how I tucked that little note paper clip underneath, and it looks really cute like that, but you don't see that center metal piece. And I used a glue dot for that. It says timeless and love this face, and the little Saturday snippet, and then the butterflies. So cute. Here you can see the outlining of the banners. I think I'm showing you that because I cut that out mostly, and then the beginning of our title. And that glitters off the page now. It came off. I tapped it off. And here's the last cluster. I have the Sunday and laugh, more pearls and little butterflies, and the paper clip. See, I love that music paper. It was perfect amount. Turned out really, really nice. So I hope you enjoyed this layout or this page as a tribute to our Shirley Temple. And, you know, there's actors and singers and authors that mean a lot to us.